All right, everyone can hear me good? Fabulous. Okay, so this class is on e-meals. I don't know if you heard around Christmas time, I did a collaboration with 11 other coaches. It was called the 12 Coaches of Tipsmas. And little plug, we will be doing more things throughout the year. But one of the coaches, Coach Fabiana, her topic was E's are friends, not foes. And every time I type E or I think I'm going to have an E, I say, E's are friends, not foes. And I think of the little shark on Finding Nemo where they say, fish are friends, not food. It cracks me up. But I think a lot of ladies are very intimidated by e-meals. Are any of you guys intimidated or you're scared to do them? Any of y'all? Angie's not, because I trained her well. Well, it's scary, a lot of people, because you go from these low carb mindsets, and I tell someone you can have a potato and they look at me like I have 4 eyes. I'm like, dude, as long as you anchor that thing in some lean protein, round your meal out with some non-starchies, no fat, you're good. And they're just like, so have to kind of convince them. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the BAM cake. BAM is short for bust a myth. It's a myth that you cannot lose weight when you have things like oats and banana. Now, I do encourage my ladies to vary their carb sources, which we'll get into in a little bit. You don't want to have oats and banana for every carb for the rest of your journey, but you still can have it and lose weight, because the way THM teaches, remember, if you did my other classes, we'll go over this really quick. In weight loss mode for Trim Healthy Mama, fats and carbs, social distance, right? We keep them separated 3 to 4 hours. And so we have them separately in meals. If we're going to have carbs for weight loss, we don't have fats. If we're going to have fats, we don't have carbs. Okay. Keep them separated. So that's how we can have carbs and still lose weight. And honestly, a lot of my ladies, I'm not going to say an age, but I'm going to say legit menopause age, y'all need more carbs than others. That is what you are going to thrive on. You still need an S a day, but have those E's. Those carbs are going to nourish your adrenals. Your adrenals are carrying you. They are taking care of your body, your adrenals. So the main thing that carbs do, nourish your adrenals, give you energy. E means energizing. Carbs give you energy. Okay. All right. They're also going to boost your serotonin and make you happy. And so those are some 3 things that I want you to remember when you're having your e-meal. You're like, oh, I'm going to be happy. I'm making my adrenals happy, and I'm going to have some energy. Okay. So today I had an e-meal for lunch. I had lentil soup. Lentils are amazing. Had I ever had a lentil in my mouth before I started THM? Nope. I'd also never had mango. I don't think I had ever had what was one of those, the garbanzo beans, chickpea thing. I had never had that before. I'd never had Ezekiel bread. I had never had oats ground into flour to make a cake. So, there's so many things that Trim Healthy Mamas do that make people go, what? You're gonna pour kefir? What's kefir? Over einkorn flour? What's that? Like, my husband, God love him, he was like, what flour was that? I said, einkorn. He said, I thought y'all couldn't eat corn. It was so funny. I was like, well, we can have corn, but we don't want to do it over too much. I said, but it's einkorn. It's an ancient grain. And he's just looking at me all kerbobbled. And I'm like, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. So anyway, I just wanted to encourage you guys on the front end of this to really look at carbs as a very helpful part of your THM journey. Okay. Hey, Mary. Oh, how are you? I'm talking to you. Oh, she can't hear me yet. She is still connected to audio. She's one of my one-on-ones from days past. You can hear me now? Hey, I have missed you. Okay, so we're going to go to the Trim Healthy Mama Plan book. I'm going to teach you about E's. Then, like we did S and Fuel Pull, I'm going to take you through THC, THT, and the starter book, okay? And I'm going to show you where it is in all those books, because I know not everybody has all those books. So I want to make sure everybody knows where they are, okay? So E-meals chapter starts on page 39, Interim Healthy Plan book. This one, the plan. If you don't have this, it's okay, because this information is repeated in those two cookbooks and in the starter book, okay? So it's good, no big deal. I'm trying to fix this where my camera looks the best. Okay, Ease will allow you to gain health, vitality, and fired up metabolism while eating carbs, delicious, energizing carbs, always safely anchored by protein. So this is something I want to drill into your brains. If you're going to have an E meal, you have to anchor it in lean protein, okay? We're not going to have a ribeye and a sweet potato and think we're going to lose weight. That's not the way this works, okay? Now, if you are nursing or pregnant or a man or a growing child, go for it. But none of us are those things, right? Well, some of y'all might be nursing or pregnant. I don't know. I'm not. Praise the Lord. But anyway, so I know, Courtney, bless, do not give me any more children. I have plenty, have all the children. So anyway, I really want you guys to just embrace this. Don't think that carbs are going to spike your blood sugar. I'm going to encourage you. You're going to change your fuels up throughout the week, right? One of the kind of guidelines I give my clients is to have 1 E a day. That's just a really safe thing, okay? Just have 1 E a day. If you're in that menopause category, girls, I really want you to think about having 2 a day. If that overwhelms you, though, maybe say Sunday I'll have 1, Monday I'll have 2, and then alternate it throughout your week that way, okay? And then you can slowly get into it. I have one client, I want to say that she's 69, 70 years old. And she, she is kind of backwards of the way I teach my ladies that are my age, I guess. So she has 1 S a day, 2 E's, and a fuel pull. That's how she does every single day. And that chick is trim, has energy, helps take care of the grandkids. She's retired, living her best life, and is so healthy. All the little doctor reports, the heart, the cholesterol, the hormones, the thyroid, all the things, you know. Now, granted, she might have some excellent genes going on, but I know she's really taking care of herself by doing the plan this way, okay? So let's get into this. Here's an idea of some of a fun meal. Okay, this is an example on page 39. I have never had this exact meal, but I kind of want to try it to see if I could fit all this in my tummy. It's a lot of food. Have y'all ever looked at any of my pictures and said, oh my word, she ate a lot of food today? I mean, I get it all the time. I don't know how you eat all that food. And I'm like, well, I just eat it just like this, you know. But this is a chicken breast cooked with salsa and caramelized onions over a bed of brown rice or quinoa, tender field greens spritzed with olive oil, because remember, we want low fat, okay? And then also some balsamic vinegar and a grapefruit slushy to end your meal. I know. So they have carbs from brown rice or quinoa, one or the other, and grapefruit in that slushy. You have lean protein from the chicken breast, and you've got your non-starchies from the salsa, the onions, and those greens. So they made their meal count. Very important. My Blooms group, their challenge this past week was, it was Buds. Sorry. Hard to keep those things straight without looking at a list. But my Buds group, their challenge this past week was to make a pretty plate. I used to do Buds where they had to have so many servings of non-starchies. Well, I was kind of getting tired of saying that and talking about it and reading it. So I decided to jazz it up a little bit and tell them to make a pretty plate. How many times have you looked at your plate and it's like white or yellow and brown? Like that's your food. Yeah. So we want to make it pretty by using non-starchy veggies. So get some green, get some blues in there, the red and yellow and orange. Try to find as many colors as you can. Make a pretty plate, round out your plate with non-starchies. So let's talk about just a generalized way to make an E meal. So the first thing that we're going to do is always anchor that sucker in lean protein. So let's start there. Always, always lean protein in an E. This is on page 40. So these are some options. You've got lean meat like fish. You can also do chicken breast, turkey breast. Most all seafood is lean, okay? You can do shrimp, all the things, all right? Then you can also do some low-fat dairy. You got egg whites, and then there are protein powders, collagen, gelatin, whey powder, that kind of thing. If you're buying things that are not Trim Healthy Mama, just look at the ingredients, okay? Usually those are going to be, the ones that are on plan are going to be the most simple ingredients, okay? So collagen would just be collagen peptides. That should be the only ingredient, okay? We don't want sugar added to anything. It should be 0 grams added sugar, no sugar on THM. Talked about that a couple weeks ago. Also, some people like to be really sneaky and put artificial sweeteners. We don't do artificial sweeteners. So anything that rhymes with gross, like sucralose, that's Splenda. We don't want that in our protein powders and our lean protein. And then also things like maltodextrin might be sneaking in there as well. Okay, so we've got our lean protein number 1. Now we're going to add a carb so we can make this thing an E, okay? So carb, and we'll go through all the list of things, but rough kind of generalization here. We've got fruit, gentle whole grains, beans, sweet potatoes. Okay, just kind of keeping it simple there. Then you'll add minimal fat, roughly a teaspoon for the whole meal. Don't tell me you put a teaspoon of fat on your meat, then you put a teaspoon of fat on your greens, then you put a teaspoon of fat on your sweet potato. That, my darlings, would be a crossover. That's 3 teaspoons of fat and all those carb sources. So you combined it. You didn't social distance. You put too many. So just 1 teaspoon for the whole meal of fat. Okay. Then you add in those fuel foods like I was talking about, the non-starchy veggies, leafy greens, green beans, sweet peppers. You could do asparagus, zucchini, squash, those kind of things. Okay. All right. So breakfast that I like to do for an E would be Pearl's perfect poop porridge. Anybody heard that recipe before? Yes, no, yes, okay. So it's just an oatmeal, and she kind of jazzed it up a little bit with some whole psyllium husk flakes, and of course we're going to anchor that in the lean protein of collagen in your coffee that you have alongside that. There is a little more protein the way that she makes it because she uses steel cut oats and flaxseed and old-fashioned oats, so it kind of brings up the protein source. I have a document on PPP where I broke down the nutrition facts, and I've written several variations of that. I'll include it in the replay link email for y'all so you can access that. If you want it before I do that, though, it is in my Coach Amy Southern support group on Facebook, if y'all can search PPP in that group. But I will do that by tomorrow. So that would be a breakfast that I would do kind of a go-to meal. Lately, I have been prepping baked goods at least every couple of weeks. So I would do something like a BAM cake. I recently made Auntie Pearl's muffins from Trim Healthy Future. Those are absolutely amazing, guys. They are, I just love them so much. I cannot even tell you. They are very legit. And then, you know, just different baked goods like that. I have a lot of E's that I really like, muffin wise, just peachy muffins, Trim Healthy cookbook, Trim Healthy table. My favorite would be chocolate covered cherry muffins. And then you can go into things like a shake. I'm not going to have a shake right now. It's cold outside. I'm going to enjoy it being cold. I'm going to have all my hot things. Okay. But when it gets warmer in Mississippi, which could be tomorrow, I would do a shake. And I love the chocolate covered cherry shake from Trim Healthy Table. That one is very delicious. I'm trying to think if there's any other. I can't come up with one off the top of my head. Chocolate covered cherry is my favorite, hands down, for breakfast, or another meal. Typically, I would do that for breakfast. For lunch, my favorite thing would be any leftovers. I love to have my soups and stuff like that leftover. I love to do taco salad where I used lean ground meat or chicken seasoned with all the taco seasonings. Maybe add some tomatoes, and then to make it an E, I would add beans, maybe some quinoa or brown rice. Once in a while, I'll do those baked Tostitos chips. And then I, of course, would have a bed of leafy greens underneath all that, okay, to kind of keep it solid. If you want a little cream on that, fat-free Greek yogurt is great. It tastes just like sour cream. And that fat-free Greek yogurt is cultured. So to me, that is a little better. So step up. All right, so some suppers. Some of my favorite suppers, Save My Sanity chili from Healthy Table. Love that. I love the sweet potato bar. I believe that's in Trim Healthy Cookbook, but it could be Table. Sorry, I'm not sure on that. I don't look at the recipe anymore. We usually just do what's called salsa chicken, where you just do your bag of chicken breasts that's thawed, put those in the bottom of the crock pot, and then just pour a jar of salsa that has no sugar added on top. Cook it on low all day in your crock pot. That's all you do. And then add quinoa or those black beans, like I said, put that bed of lettuce underneath. For my family, I would put that on whole grain tortillas and let them put all the avocado cheese and all the stuff they want on it. So those are just some really easy things. You could bring in some on-plan bread. You could make a turkey sandwich using Laughing Cow wedge instead of mayonnaise. Have some lettuce, do your lean deli meat, round that plate out with some pretty freshies, all those raw vegetables that y'all see me do, berries. And just a lot of different things. For a snack, I highly suggest doing a Fuel Pull peanut butter. Coach Canada, once again, give her a little shout out. She wrote Coach Canada's Real Deal Peanut Butter. You can Google that, guys. Very easy to find. And it, at 3 tablespoons, is still Fuel Pull, okay? And it actually gives you plenty of protein for that snack. I like to pair that with an apple, really yummy dip. And then you can also do peanut junkie butter. That recipe is in Trim Healthy Cookbook. It's towards the back of it. So you're using pressed peanut flour. It's defatted. And then you add some sweetener and other things to it to make it that creamy, peanut buttery consistency. I do prefer Coach Canada's to the peanut junkie personally. Also, fat-free Greek yogurt. That is a great one. It's a lean protein. You can add any of your fruit. I love mango. When it's in season, fresh mango, oh my stars, so yummy. I told everyone at the beginning, if you weren't here right then, that was one of the things I had never had. Some of the foods that I'd never had, I kind of went over that, but it is delicious and it is very nourishing to your adrenals. I'm also a nutrition coach, and so I want to encourage you at this point to vary your carb sources. If you are only having oats for your week, that's your carb source for the whole week, think about all the beautiful foods you're missing out on. These foods are beautiful because they are so packed with nutrition. A sweet potato is going to have different nutrition than black beans and different nutrition than quinoa. By the way, quinoa is not a grain, it's a seed, so it's actually gentler on your blood sugar. So if you find that brown rice might make you feel a little jittery or kind of different or weird, you may be having too many carbs in that meal. I don't do brown rice often. If I do it, I mix it with quinoa because I just don't do well with brown rice. But I do well with quinoa because it is a seed. So that may be something that would be helpful for you. All right, let me make sure I haven't forgotten anything. Let's talk about some serving sizes. So if you go over to page 50, and this information is also duplicated in these other books we're going to go over really quick in a minute. We've already talked about all the lean protein sources. The next thing on page 50 would be the grains. So you got brown rice. What's great about this document here, or this book here, and all the other ones, they're going to give you serving sizes of what you can have in a meal. So it's about 3/4 cup of brown rice, quinoa, whole barley, whole farro. I've never had either of those. Oatmeal will be a 1.25 cups cooked. I like having that number. How about y'all? 1.25 cups cooked. Of course, sprouted breads are going to be 2 pieces for an E. I had a lady once where she kept just doing her lean protein 1 piece of bread and berries, calling it an E. Is that an E? Technically, yes, but she's not fueling enough. So she was getting hungry within 30 to 45 minutes and aggravated. She didn't want to do E's anymore. And I'm like, but you're only doing 1 piece of bread. Have another piece of bread. You could even have another carb source, like half of a piece of fruit to go along with it. Changed her world. She loves them now. She's all kinds of happy. Sprouted tortilla. Ezekiel products have good sprouted tortillas. All Ezekiel products that I've ever seen are in the freezer section of your grocery store. Okay. And I have even seen them in the smallest of grocery stores, in the smallest of towns, in the freezer section. So go check that out. At least they'll have a loaf of bread. Their cinnamon raisin bread is delicious. I like to pull it right out of the freezer, 2 pieces, heat it up in the microwave for about 10-15 seconds, stick it in the toaster. It's a little process, but it's good, I promise. Then I divide 1 wedge of Laughing Cow and then do some Gentle Sweet and cinnamon. Oh my stars. What we're missing there though is some lean protein. So you're either going to do some egg whites, lean deli meat, or add one of those protein powders. I prefer collagen in my coffee to make sure we're getting adequate protein and not spiking our blood sugar, okay? All right, next, sprouted whole grain pasta. If you find that, let me know and mail me a box, okay? Good luck to that, okay? You can find it. It might be a little pricey. I just prefer to not even worry with things like that. Wassa crackers. This is a hot topic. In this book, it was written 7-8 years ago. Some of this is a little dated. I have never even seen some of these types of Wassa crackers, and I am a grocery store crazy person. I look at all the things on all the aisles, all the labels. That's what I do. If you ever want to go to the grocery store, I will go with you. It is my favorite thing. I love it so much. But so Wassa crackers, light rye. We'll talk about those next week a lot for fuel pull, because those are really going to be helpful for you in fuel pull. So you can have 4 light rye in fuel pull. They're very low carb, so you can have up to 4 in a fuel pull. All right, then we're going to go down. I've never seen the fiber ones or the flaxseed Wassa, so we're not going to worry about those. Multigrain, I see at my Walmart all the time. Hearty and whole grain, I've never seen ever. And then sourdough. So multigrain and sourdough are the ones that are around nowadays. You can have 2 to 3 in an E, okay? Another thing that I use in place of a Wassa cracker type thing in an E, it's Lundberg brand rice cakes, but they're squares. They're not those big, thick things. They're thin squares. They're called thin stackers. There's a brown rice one, then there's a brown rice, quinoa, red lentil, I think, mixture. Hold on, I'm lying about that. Let me look. I want to know the whole thing. Hold on. Oh, I was right. It's brown rice, red rice, and quinoa. So this is what that one looks like. The brown rice one is in a blue box, and these eat good. I made a meal with them not too long ago. I did 4, and 2, I did Coach Canada's peanut butter. I divided, probably a couple tablespoons. I did a tablespoon each, I guess, on 2. And then I did a mixture in a bowl of a tuna pouch and a wedge of Laughing Cow that was garlic and herb. So it flavored it and all that. I had to get all my spices and junk out. Just handled it with that. And I divided that on the other 2 crackers or rice cakes, whatever. And then I had non-starchies around the edge of my plate. That is one reason, one time that I do use a dinner plate. Typically I eat on a salad plate, but 4 of these, they just sit better and it's cuter on the dinner plate. Okay. So that is, one of those little helpful things. That's kind of a drive-through Sue. And they last a long time. Let me show you. Let me see. They come in several packets in this box. So they stay sealed, which is great. So it's like several that come in there. And my kids actually, like, I'll use 4 and then I'll give one of these to Camp and one to Knox, and they'll just eat them walking around. But they are weird kids. Knox will eat kefir straight. Oh, drink kefir straight. I'm not doing that. He eats fat-free Greek yogurt straight too. Oh. We're putting super sweet and flavorings in that. Okay, so corn, that is a hot topic for sure. You can have 4 to 5 cups of popped kernels if you air pop it, and then add maybe some nutritional yeast. You can spritz it with some olive oil spray or something. Son, you need to go to bed. Excuse me, I have a child. No, sorry, y'all. He's supposed to be asleep. Okay, so what was I talking about? Popcorn. So Skinny Pop is the safest way for me to take in popcorn because they do the individual bags, right? So that one individual bag would be a really good way for you to have popcorn on a movie night. I take it into the movie theater. I don't really go very often. I would really suggest, if you are in serious weight loss mode, don't have corn more than once a week. That's just my suggestion. You do you, boo. You're a grown woman. Do whatever you want, but that's my suggestion. If you want to be like even more serious, I would do it once every couple weeks. It's just a really high calorie food. And I just think that's wise. So Popcorners is a really popular new product that's out, not about. So the sea salt and the spicy queso are both 100% on plan. All of the other ones are not. They have a lot of other things added to them, off-plan ingredients, sugar, that kind of stuff. The serving, I want to say, is like 20 chips. And yes, I count mine. And I do like to have about 10 or so when I make that little turkey sandwich. It's just really good, kind of that little chip thing, little chip satisfaction, you know, to have that. Baked blue corn chips are another unicorn. If you find those, let me know. So that's something that is a little difficult to find these days. The next thing that's on the list is fruit, all fruit in moderate quantities. For example, 1 apple, 1 orange, 1 peach, a slice of cantaloupe. You can have all berries. And then they've got beans and legumes, including lentils and split peas. 1 cup cooked, but more can be eaten when liquid is involved, as in, you know, lentil soups and things like that. Veggies, you can have all the veggies, and it says except potatoes. This is where things get really hairy and scary for all the people that have been doing THM for a really long time. We can have potatoes. You can. So they kind of went back on that a little bit, kind of edited, revised some things. It's still recommended to keep white russets out of your weight loss journey. I just think that's wise. It's a very starchy food. It's very similar to corn, actually a little worse in my opinion. But there are red potatoes. You know, you've got sweet potatoes, white sweet potatoes. You've got purple sweet potatoes. You have Yukon Golds. Those are my favorite. So you've got all these other options that are readily available at your grocery store. I don't see why you would need to do those white russets, okay? Now, when Wes and I were on our 20th anniversary trip and we went to this restaurant and they had a twice baked potato, I was celebrating my 20th wedding anniversary and I got a steak and I got a twice baked potato with a white russet. Okay. Now, did I have one when we went out to eat the next night? No, I did not. So just keep things in moderation. And I think that would be very helpful. If you are just really celebrating something big and you want to enjoy something like that, I think that's important to do, but don't abuse it. Okay. All right. Veggies, all the veggies. Carrots, be very careful when we talk about carrots in S and fuel pull. We want to have those raw. Cooked is best in E because it releases the sugars in the carrot. Okay, so that is that. Let's go to Trim Healthy Cookbook. I just want to show you where this is talked about in Trim Healthy Cookbook. I want to answer y'all's questions and talk to y'all. Okay, the e-meal is talked about on page 498 in Trim Healthy Cookbook, 498. It's the exact same thing I just went through. How to build your meal. Eat meats, dairy, grains, fruit, beans, blah, 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 blah. Remember in Trim Healthy Cookbook, let me find the section I want to show you guys. These gold pages, remember the gold pages in Trim Healthy Cookbook? We talked about this last week. E-meals are this gold mustard color dot that are on the sides. So that's how you can find those easy when you're looking for that e-recipe in that cookbook. All right, now Trim Healthy table. E-meals are discussed on page 538. The Energizing e-meal, how to build a meal, tip, meat, dairy, grains, blah, 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 all that. All right, if you go over just a few more pages, page 547, excuse me, it starts on 546. That's where the list of all the e-meals in Trim Healthy table start, and it goes all the way through in all the different sections. That's how I write my menus. I start with I do one cookbook a week. That means I don't have to get out 42 different books a week during the week because I do cook out of the cookbooks a good bit. Or should I say my daughters. Praise the Lord. There are some more tips on S and E in the first part of this. If you guys did not do my S class, just want to share with you. This is the condensed version of the plan book and Trim Healthy table. This is the recipes. Okay, so it's a lot of information and a lot of recipes. Trim Healthy starter book. You're going to have E's talked about. I should have marked this. I told myself I was going to mark it after the other night and I forgot. Talks about the THM E numbers. This is where we're going to discuss this at this point, pages 18 and 19 in the starter book. This is also talked about in all the other places, but I wanted to land here right before we begin opening up discussion. So in a THM E meal, we already talked about that you don't go over 5 grams of fat or a teaspoon. That's equal. A teaspoon and 5 grams, same thing. All right. And we also talked about the portion sizes of our carbs. We're going to have about 3/4 cup of grains, right? We're going to have 1 piece of fruit. We're going to have a medium sweet potato, that kind of stuff. Think about your hand. You don't have to measure food with THM. Just use your hand. It's okay. And if your husband is way ginormous, bigger than you, he can use his hand too and have more. Okay. Don't sissify his portions. He'll get mad at you. No, no, no. All right. So we don't want to go over 45 grams of net carb. If you're a numbers girl, if you are going with that palm portion, you're going to be okay. 2 pieces of bread. I also think most of those sprouted grain breads, you can also have half a portion of another carb source and you'll be fine. Protein in all meals, we're going to have 20 to 30 grams of protein. In your snack, 10 to 15 grams of protein. Okay. It's pretty much the only difference between a meal and a snack, to be honest. All right. And then so that's it. That's our macros. That's our fats and our protein and our carb for an E. Let me make sure there's nothing else I was going to tell you. I don't think so. But also in the back of Trim Healthy Starter Book, it has the exact same thing. Build your E meal, all the E things, all the blah, blah, blah. So it says E cheat sheet on page 195 in the back of the starter book. This is what the starter book looks like. I really like this book. I really like it. Has a lot of good little recipes in it. All right. If I missed something, please ask me about it. If you want me to talk about more of something already talked about, or if you have any other THM related questions, it's your turn. And I'm going to drink a little more water out of my cute new cup. Not everybody all at once now. Come on, guys. I'll start calling on people. Just click unmute if you want to talk. Yeah. Here, let's see. I can do it for you. Hold on.
There we go.
There you go.
Hey.
Hey, okay. Mary.
Hey. So when you were talking about brown rice and that it makes you feel jittery, what about if I'm making cowboy grub and it asks for brown rice? Are you putting in quinoa instead?
You can. I don't make that very much, but it is not a scoop of brown rice. You've got it has cauli rice in it, right? It should.
Brown rice.
I think that I totally add cauli rice to that recipe. And then you've got the peas and the carrots in there.
I have beans and it has some corn.
Beans and corn. Oh, I'm thinking chicken fried double rice. Sorry. I don't make either one of those. My people don't like it. So yeah, you're fine because it has the carb source of the brown rice and it also has the carb source of the beans. So it's kind of broken up a little bit and a little corn. Yeah.
But I guess I'm asking is, would it cook up the same if I use quinoa instead of?
Oh yeah, I think it'll be fine.
Okay. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. Anybody else? I'm going to mute you, Mary. Y'all are cracking me up. Mary wants something else. Yeah, girl. That's fine. Hold on. I didn't click it right. Hold on.
There we go. One of those people when it gets quiet, I just ask questions. So what are your thoughts on sola bread?
I do not think that is a good product. It's personal choice for sure. It's not a carb source. I know that. It's a low carb bread.
Okay. then on that same note, what about Weight Watchers cheese?
I don't know. I'll have to look that up, but I probably won't like it.
It's super low fat. I mean, there's like no fat in it. Little low fat, maybe.
Do you know what the ingredients are offhand?
No. I
Okay,
can go get
I'm
'em.
looking it up.
Okay. I can't believe you don't like cowboy grub. Has anybody else had cowboy grub? It's pretty good, right? My husband loves it. And they love it on low carb tortillas. So they're happy.
That's probably our problem. We don't do that very much either. Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. I can search cheese. They have a lot of products. Is it shredded cheese or is it powdered cheese?
Shredded.
I'm
I
not
know
finding
I
it.
don't like shredded very much.
I'm not finding it. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll send it to you and then you can tell us next time.
Okay, that's fine. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
The interwebs failed us.
Mute me.
I will. I'm going to get her to tell me how to say her name because I'm going to mess it up. I know I will. Okay. Say your name.
Alejandra.
Yeah, I'll mess that up. Is there something I can say? Can I give you a nickname? Can I call you Allie?
Yes, that's perfect.
What can I
Okay.
do for you?
Question. In regards to the fat, I drink coffee every day and I do MCT oil. So if I do the 5 grams already of fat, does that mean I can like cook my egg whites or something else with oil, or like how would that work?
Okay. So MCT oil is a very forgiving fat source, and it's revving your metabolism. So I say, and the book does too, but you can have both. But I would use coconut oil spray or olive oil spray with the egg whites. I wouldn't put like a teaspoon just to stay on the up and up, but you can still do that MCT oil because as soon as you start drinking that, your body's going to burn it right on up. It's not going to interfere with the carbs. MCT is kind of a, I don't know what to call it, but it's an okay fat to have.
So I just need to keep it to the 5 grams, right? Like just do the teaspoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can probably have a little bit more. I don't measure that anymore, but hang on, I can tell you specifically. I've got it right here. Okay, 1 to 2 teaspoons of MCT in a Trimmy Light, which is fuel pull. So you can have 1 to 2 MCT, but I would be very careful with other fats in your meal. You don't want to overdo them.
Okay. Because that's how I do my MCT oil. I have it with my coffee every morning. So
very good. That's a great thing to do.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Is that it?
Yes.
That was easy. Allie. Bless her. That's not even her name. Is it okay if I call you that? You're not sad about it? She's a good sport. I knew I didn't even want to try to mess her name up. That's too pretty for me to try to say it, my little Southern self. Anybody else?
I have a question. Hey.
Ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'll get you next, Angie. Thank you, ma'am.
Those I think they were rice cakes that you had.
Yeah.
What was the brand of those and where do you get them?
Lundberg, and I get them at Kroger, but I've seen them at Whole Foods and Publix.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you. I've got a Publix, so I'll look for them there.
Good. Is there anything else I can help you with? Oh, nope. She muted herself. She's done. Okay, Angie.
Okay. So turkey is a lean protein, like sandwich meat. But what if you cook a whole turkey with the skin on would the breast of that still be considered lean protein? Because how do you measure that? I mean, you can't read a label of a cooked turkey.
Right. I would say you definitely need to take the skin off and only use the white breast meat. And I probably would not add much more fat to it.
Okay, but you could still eat it as a E with no skin.
I think so.
Okay. Looking in turkey Thursday.
That's a good question. You know, I've done an E Thanksgiving before, and I used that. I didn't have any problems. Yep. Anybody else? Anna is in Messenger. She says, can you use almond butter instead of peanut butter with veggies in an E setting? Almond butter is also a fat source, so it would be only a teaspoon that you could use. I'm sorry. I've never heard of anybody making a fuel pull almond butter. I've not heard of that. It's really good though. That would have to be an S. Anybody else? Did I tell y'all everything you needed to know during my 30-minute mouth running session? I love that y'all smile back at me. It makes me so happy. Okay, so what are some of your favorite E meals or snacks? Let's share. I gave y'all all mine.
I like cottage cheese with sliced peaches over it and a sprinkle of ginger sweet.
Very good. Thank you, Angie. That's good. So you're going to do low-fat cottage cheese. I think that it's best to buy the Daisy brand. Typically, not all the time. Typically, the generic brands, especially at the Walmarts, has not so stellar ingredients, and it has a maltodextrin and a couple other things, tapioca, stuff like that we don't want. So I suggest definitely read your labels, okay? But Daisy is the best, and it's that 2% is what you want for your E and fuel pull, okay? Do you use frozen, fresh, or like the little peach cups?
I'm a nerd and I can my own peaches. So fresh, canned, in water only. So
Wow. That's impressive. Anybody else? Favorite E? What are some E foods that, like I went over those earlier. So some E foods that I did not start eating until I started THM: mango, lentils, cherries, Ezekiel products. I'd heard of that, but I was like, that's got to be gross. And now I'm like, I love cinnamon raisin Ezekiel bread. Ezekiel has hamburger buns. So if you can get a lean burger or like a chicken breast and make a little chicken sandwich, it is super yummy. They're very good. Okay, what else? There was something else I'd said. Papaya. Have y'all ever had papaya? I'd never had papaya. I mean, I have it now, but I had not. Do y'all use the papaya seeds in your shake? Do y'all know why you should? Am I going to freak you out if I talk about parasites in your gut? That's another class. You're like, I didn't sign up for that. But it does. The papaya seeds are a natural anti-parasitic, which we all have in our gut. And so it's really helpful for that. So I don't want to gross you out or nothing, but it's real life. Mary the nurse is getting the hibby-jibbies. She says I'm not that kind of nurse. Oh my word. Okay, guys, tell me something else. I want to know things. We got a few more minutes. What's your favorite bread? What's your favorite on-plan bread? Mine is Arnold's Organic Sprouted Grain. 'Tis also a unicorn, but I searched for that sucker. Is my favorite. Is so good, so good. What's your favorite on-plan bread? And y'all can type these in if y'all want to. I can read them.
My favorite bread would be homemade sourdough bread when I get a chance to make it.
You go, girl. You are a next level sister. I'm not that girl. I'm not. I've killed 3 starters. Killed them dead.
Mine's been sitting in my refrigerator for months, so it lasts a good long while if you get tired of keeping up with it.
That's awesome. How did you start out doing sourdough? Like, did you go through Glenda Groff, or did you have like a friend or your grandma? Or like, what happened? Tell me.
I personally knew Glenda. She lived real close to me, so before they moved. But yeah, I actually had got some starter from her and then played around with it and started off with like waffles and that type of thing, and went from there. So yeah,
that's awesome.
It's a lot of fun if you have time for it.
That's awesome. I love that. Have any of you guys done my E version of the einkorn overnight biscuits or cinnamon squares or the king cake? Anybody? I double dog dare you to order that einkorn and sour it in that kefir and be all kinds of weird like me. Wes's dad was like, "You did what?" I was like, "Shut up and just eat the king cake." Oh, it was so good, y'all. Oh, it was so good. Did y'all see, I don't remember which, I did a live before Christmas of the overnight biscuits. So I had soured them and then I was putting them together for my breakfast. And I went live. It was very early in the morning. And Rashida watched the video, which she and I are friends. We talk every now and then, Messenger and stuff. And we've met in real life a couple times. But anyway, she commented, "I did not know the biscuits needed to touch." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, like I didn't mean to mess up. That's how Southerners do biscuits." Like they touch so they rise, you know? And so it was kind of funny. And then I messaged her and I was like, "You really didn't know that." She was like, "No," she said, "but I made them. I'm gonna make them like that." I'm like, you should, and you shall think of me." So funny. They're so delicious. And my people eat them before I can like have like my 3rd or 4th one. My, my event of having a biscuit. Because I savor them. And the next thing I know, they've eaten them all. I'm like, people. So I have a huge 10-pound bag of einkorn flour that I ordered. Hopefully it'll last a little longer than those little bitty bags that you get, I splurged on it. Although, honestly, a 10-pound bag of that really is comparable in price to the flour I normally get, because we're a little weird with the kind of things we buy. But anyhow, I was thrilled when I got brave enough to try those after the cookbook came out. Okay, guys, last chance. Any other questions or comments or?
Well, which cookbook? I'm like brand new, so which cookbook?
I'm speaking crazy talk then.
Well, no, I mean I've tried Trim Healthy Mama years ago, but I'm just new to really
some of the newer things. Yeah. So Trim Healthy Future. This is Rashida. She's Serena and Pearl's niece.
Right.
And she wrote this cookbook. And so the overnight biscuits and overnight cinnamon squares are in here. It calls for einkorn flour, and then you sour it in kefir overnight. So that
I did watch your video on it, but I didn't remember which book where the recipe was at.
Yeah. So, but you can use other on-plan flours. You don't have to use einkorn. Okay. I had somebody ask me recently about baking blends, and I'm like, well, that would not make it an E anymore. I don't like baking blend personally. There's only a couple of things that I like baking blend used for. It's just not my fave. If I'm going to have a baked item, it's typically going to be an E, because that is a normal taste for me, if that makes sense. Okay. So I do, while we're on the topic, I do highly recommend those for your baking, especially in the beginning, or if it's more of just something you want to be more normal. So the E pancakes and waffles as well. I think those are a better flavor, just because it's kind of what you're used to,
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with the S recipes, but baking blend just isn't my jam.
Yeah. Well, I got their no carb bread,
Oh, yes.
but the taste is not what I'm used to either.
No.
And
Mine was
so-
about that tall. I have a post. I'm going to probably do it for Thursday on my
really?
public page. But I mean, my bread, it was just
Oh,
this-
mine was about like that. Mine wasn't bad.
and Pearl was like, "What blender did you use that little food processor thing?" I'm like, "Yes." I said, "Should I use my tall blender?" She goes, "I think so." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I've got like 5 more bags, so I'll try it." But it was very good. I made avocado toast with it this morning with tons of butter and the avocado and the egg, and it was amazing.
Okay.
And I made a grilled cheese with it Saturday, which made it an S because it's no carb, easy bread.
Right.
Yes.
So what kind of cheese do you use for your grilled cheese?
That was I think it was a Colby Jack is what I
Okay.
used.
Okay, so since it's okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Alright.
S. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the bread is no carb, so it's
Okay.
it's fuel pull actually, till you start adding all those yummy fats.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be good in E and fuel pull because you couldn't put anything tasty on it. You
Right.
might could do a laughing cow wedge with everything but the bagel seasoning. That's the only way I can see me wanting to have that.
Yeah.
All right, girls. Well, thank y'all so much for watching and participating. I appreciate it. I hope y'all have a great night, and hopefully we'll see y'all next Monday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.